Hi everyone, welcome back to my video about programming in Go. I am Dr. Hang Ding from IU South Bend. Before watching this video, I hope that you have watched my videos that cover basics of the Golang. And today, in this video, we will cover a new topic that is web programming in Go. There will be 6 parts or 6 lectures covering an introduction to web programming in Go, and this video is the first one where you will learn about how to write a very simple client application in Go. The materials for all of my lectures about web programming in Go come from 2 chapters of Donovan's and Kennigan's textbook, including chapter 1 and chapter 4, and also from the web document with the title Writing Web Applications with the URL posted here. You should read these materials if you want to learn more details or if you feel like missing some details. If you are enrolled in my online course at IU South Bend about programming in Go, this is your reading assignment. To develop a web application, we first need to learn how it works. Most web applications work as the client-server model. A client in this module is a system or program that connects with the remote system or software to fetch information. Web browser is an example of a client. A server is a system or computer program that acts as the data provider. HTTP works as a request response protocol between a client and a server. For example, a client, which can be a web browser like Google Chrome, sends an HTTP request to the server. The request is usually in the form of a URL. And then the server returns a response to the client. The response contains status information about the request and may also contain the requested content. Typical formats of response are HTML, XML, image, or JSON. The 2 most common HTTP methods are GET and POST. We will go into details of those methods later. The GET and POST methods are 2 fundamental methods for making HTTP requests. The GET method is used to request data from a specified resource, such as retrieving web pages, images, or search results. It is designed for retrieving information and should not be used for operations that modify server-side data. Data sent with a GET request is appended to the URL as a query string, which starts with a question mark followed by a sequence of pairs of parameter and value written in the form parameter equal value. For example, this is a query string that has 2 parameters, namely length and pub. And the value for the parameter length is and the value for the parameter pub is 1. The parameter length is typically used to specify the language displayed on the web page, and the value and means English. So the GET method used in this URL is to retrieve a web page in English from extendword.com. Sending data in the URL make it visible in the browser's address bar and history, and the URL can be easily bookmarked. GET requests can also be cached by browser and proxy servers. Therefore, they should not be used for sending sensitive data such as password. The post method is used to send data to a server to create or update a resource, such as submitting forms or uploading files. It is designed for operations that involve modifying server-side data. Data sent with a post request is included in the body of the HTTP request, not in the URL. From the user's point of view, data to be sent by the post method are typically entered in a form, like the form for username and password. When the user clicks a button to submit the form, the browser sends a post request carrying the data within its body, and you won't see that data in the URL or anywhere else on your computer. Post method is generally preferred for sending sensitive data and larger amounts of data because it does not have the URL length limitations of the GET method. Go provides a collection of packages grouped under net that make it easy to send and receive information through the internet and make low-level network connection. We will use those packages to create a web application. One of those packages is NAS/HTTP, which provides HTTP client and server implementations. For the client implementation, the functions http.get and http.post make HTTP GET and POST requests respectively. Here are examples of how to call those functions. This function returns two values. The first value is a response struct, which is also defined in the HTTP package. And the second value is to catch an error. So variable error in these examples are of type error, which is a building type. If there's no error, that is when variable error is nil, then these functions return the result in the response struct variable, which is named res in this example. The body field of variable res contains the server response as a readable string. After calling get or post, the client program must close the response body by calling the close method of the field body of variable res, as in this defer statement. Now I'm going to show you an example of a client application written in Go using the nest/http package. This application simply fetches the content of each specified URL and prints it as uninterpreted text. The Go program implementing this client application is named fetch.go. Besides package FMT and nest/http, the program also uses package io/ioutil, which implements some IO utility functions. It also uses the OS package to get arguments from the command line. Here is the main function of the fetch.go program. It has a for loop that branches over the slice of all arguments from the command line of the program. Each of those arguments is supposed to be an input URL that the program needs to fetch. In the loop body, it first calls the http.get function, passing the current URL as argument. The results of the get function are returned in variables res and error, where error is to catch any error. Then it checks if there's any error returned by the function http.get by checking if error is not nil. If there's an error, it simply prints out the error message to the error standard output and exits the program. If there's no error, then the loop body reads the entire response stored in the body field of variable res, which is returned by the function http.get. To read the entire response, we use a function read_all of the IOUtil package. The results are stored in variable b and also in the error variable error. After reading the response, we close the body of the response right away. Then we check if there's any error from reading the response, and if so, we print out the error message along with the input URL. If there's no error from reading the response, then the loop body prints out the content of the response stored in variable b, which is returned by the read_all function. To test the fetch.go program, you can open any command line application on your computer, for example, command prompt in Windows or terminal in Mac OS. And then you type the command that will move to the current directory containing the fetch.go program. So it depends on where you save the fetch.go program in your computer. And then you build the fetch.go program by typing the command go build fetch.go. Okay, so after building fetch.go, now you can run it by typing the program name, which is fetch, and then you can enter a list of URL. Here we just enter only one URL that that doesn't of the domain that doesn't exist, and so in this case it shows an error. And so now we test it again with another URL that actually exists. So in this case, it will show the content of the HTML page of that URL. In this case, it is iusb.edu. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to test the fetch.go program on a Windows computer. Here is the fetch.go program on my Windows computer, and you can see the location of that program at the top of the Light IDE program here. And you can see the location of the fetch.go program in the File Explorer. So here I just delete the fetch.exe and I will compile it later. Okay, so now we open the command prompt, which is to run any program from the command line. And first, I need to move to the location of my fetch.go program.
I have copied the path and now I just paste it here, and it should be placed within the double quotes because this path has some spaces. Okay, so now we are in uh, the current folder of the fetch.go program, and now we first build the fetch.go. Okay, and then we run fetch with the parameters, let's say https slash slash iusb.edu. Okay, so you can see that it is display the source page of iusb at b.edu. And so now we try it again. Okay, so we try with fetch, but maybe using some uh, non-access .com. So just some URL for that doesn't exist, and then is supposed to show an error.
In previous examples, we have used the standard package nest/http. Another useful standard package for web programming in Go is nest/URL, which passes URL and implements query escaping. Recall that in the general syntax of URLs, the query string is placed after path and starts with a question mark. The query string in a URL contains data to be passed to the server-side scripts running on the web server. It is usually a string of key equal value settings separated by the ampersand character, where key is a parameter. For example, this is a query string that consists of two parameters, first name and last name, with values John for first name and Connor for last name. Note that scheme and host components of a URL are not case sensitive, but path and query string are case sensitive. Usually the whole URL is specified in lowercase. We will use package nest/URL for query escaping. But why do we have to do query escaping? The reason is because the URLs entered by a user could contain special characters like question mark or ampersand that have a special meaning in a URL syntax. We need to escape those characters before passing the URL to the get or post function so that the program doesn't misunderstand the special characters entered by the user with those with special meaning. Escaping strings also prevents malicious intent of users when inputting a query string. Function query escape of the URL package takes a string as argument and escapes the string so that it can be safely placed inside a URL query that is passed to the http.get or http.post functions. Function query escape returns the string with the escaped characters. For example, when we pass the string go plus len as argument to the query escape, then it returns the string with the plus being replaced with the this group of characters. That is %2b. And then when we pass the string with a space as the argument to query escape, then the space is replaced with the plus sign. And when we pass this string that has a forward slash and then ampersand and then a comma character, so each of these special characters is replaced with a sequence starting with the percent size uh, uh, in the output of the query escape function. Now let's summarize. In this video, you have learned the HTTP client-server model, which is used by most web applications. You have also learned the Go packages that support web programming, including net/http and net/URL. You have also learned an example of uh, a client application in Go, that is the fetch.go program, which fetches a URL. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video that cover part 2 of web programming in Go.